So glad you could join us on another adventure with Dr. Phil. I'm not a real doctor. My friends just call me that. But that's a whole nother story for another time. Speaking of stories, are you ready for a story today? Well, our story is about one lawyer, two questions, and three travelers. One question. One question. You see, there was a time where a lawyer tried to trick Jesus. He he was using his words very, very sneakily to try and get Jesus to say or do something to trap him. Well, it's kind of like this domino that we have here. You see, there's one dot on one side, and there's four dots on this side, and there's three dots on this side, and flip it over, and there's six dots on this side. 1, 4, 3, 6. You get it? It's a trick. You see, I'm covering up where I don't want you to see. I want you to see certain things or think certain things, and so I trick you by doing that. Yes, there are just two dots on this side, and there are just 5 dots on this side. You see, there was a time where Jesus and his students were being, they were talking with other people, and I'll remember that 1, 2, 3 dots. Well, yeah, there really were 3 dots. Yeah, it's a trick. One lawyer, 2 questions, and 3 travelers. The one lawyer, he asked Jesus 2 questions. He said, Jesus, what can I do to get to heaven? I want to live forever. What can I do? Well, Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. The lawyer said, not the answer I was thinking, maybe in his head. And he said, then Jesus, and lawyers are great at this. Who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? Well, let me tell you a story, Jesus said. Stories? Who doesn't love stories? Jesus said there was a Jewish man going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. Remember, Jerusalem is way high up on a hill. He was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and it was going to take him about 2 days to get there. Well, on his journey, he came around a corner, we think, and some men were hiding, and they jumped out, and they beat the man up, took his money, and left him for dead. Beat the man up and left him for dead. My. Well, as the man was laying there bleeding and bruised and broken, he was in bad need of help. Someone to come along and help him. Well, as Jesus was telling the story, the people were leaning in because they wondered how the man would get some help. Well, Jesus said, first there was a priest who came down the path, down the road. He saw the man and crossed on the other side and wanted nothing to do with him. A priest, a person who represents God on earth to the people, and vice versa, represents the people to God. So the man responsible for showing people God on earth, passed by on the other side, could not be bothered. Oh, Jesus continued the story. There was a Levite. Oh, a Levite. They were assistants to the priest. They weren't assistant priests. They were assistants to the priest. And they were more responsible for being lawyers or judges, teachers. They knew all about the Torah, the law. Maybe this lawyer was a Levite. And so now he was interested because a fellow Jew was in need, and to do the right thing would be to help him out. Well, Jesus said the Levite came down the road and saw the man who was bleeding and bruised and broken, and he looked, but kept on walking. Could not be bothered to help the man. Well, the man is in need of help. What to do? What to do? Well, the story continues. Jesus said there was a Samaritan. Samaritan? Oh, no, not a Samaritan. The people thought those people are just no good. You see, they're not real Jews. They think they have access to God. They do all kinds of things that we do, but they're not real Jews. They're just, well, they're mutts. Not pure Jews at all. Not a Samaritan. Well, the Samaritan's not going to be bothered to help a Jew. Surely the listeners to Jesus' story were thinking. So Jesus went on. The Samaritan stopped. Wait, what? The Samaritan stopped? Yeah, surely to spit on the Jew or to kick him, poke him, see if he's still alive, make fun of him. Stinks to be you. Look what happened to you. Somebody beat you up and took all your money. Serves you right. No. Jesus said the Samaritan had compassion on the man. Compassion. A lot of feelings. A want to help. So the Samaritan took the man and reached into his pouch and took out some oil and some medicine and poured it on the man's wounds and tried to clean him up the best he could, because after all, the man was bleeding and bruised and broken. And so the Samaritan said, I need to get you more help. This first aid is okay, but it's not enough. You surely need more help. So the Samaritan picked up the man, put him on his donkey, and continued down the road. He got to an inn, a hotel of sorts, and he said to the innkeeper, I need a room. You see, my friend here, and friend, interesting term for an enemy. You see, my friend here is bleeding and bruised and broken, and he needs to get well. So I want to have a room for him, and I will take care of everything. I will pay you whatever it costs to make sure that this man gets better. Even after 2 months' time, if he's still here, and this amount of money that I am giving to you, and with that, the Samaritan may have pulled out a leather pouch and jingled it with some coins and laid it down on the counter. I will take care of it all, the Samaritan said. And if he's not better in 2 months, I'll come back. I will come back to check. And if there's more costs that need to be paid, I will pay it. Huh. The lawyer, remember, one lawyer, two questions, who is my neighbor? Well, Jesus then said, turning to the lawyer and no doubt looking him square in the eyes being, they say, the window of the soul. The eyes tell us on the outside what's going on the inside. Looking, no doubt, the man in the face, Jesus said, "So which one of these three was the neighbor? Was it the priest, the representative of God? Was it the Levite, the assistant to the priest, knowing full well what should be done to those in need? Or was it the Samaritan?" The lawyer, caught in his own trap, said, "I suppose it was the one who helped," not bringing himself to the point where he could say, I guess, the Samaritan. The one who helped. Well, Jesus said, "You go and do the same. Help those who cannot help themselves." Well, that reminds us of some other words that Jesus said. It reminds us of what we ought to be thinking about with this story of one lawyer, two questions, and three travelers. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, he said this, "My commandment to you is this: love one another as I have loved you." My commandment is this. Not a suggestion, not a proposal. Here's what I think. Here's what I am telling you to do. Much like when, mom or dad tells you to go clean your room or to come for dinner or to do a certain thing. We don't question, we just do it. And that's what Jesus is saying here. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Well, how has Jesus loved the disciples? Because that's to whom Jesus was speaking when he said those words. Well, Jesus showed them that they should have compassion on people, that want to do something good for someone, that they should show people who it is that God is. Remember the representative, the priest, that person who shows everyone who God is. But then also we need to know what it is that God has said. Remember, Jesus used the words from the Old Testament quite a bit. Remember, he said, "It is written that man should not live by bread alone." Or, "It is written that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself." Well, how about you? Is Jesus asking you to go and do likewise today? He certainly is. He's telling you to love the Lord with all your strength, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Go and do likewise, as Jesus told the lawyer. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do something for them that they cannot do for themselves. Show them who it is that God is. Bye for now.